Welcome back to Gav Goes In. Yeah, big up to Lumi. Big up to everyone coming through. And guys, listen, first and foremost, let's start off with some other news apart from this fucking disgrace of a performance from Ruben Amorim and Manchester United. First off, condolences to the family of Ricky the Hitman Hatton. Obviously, as I was growing up, used to watch a lot of Hatton. And he's someone that put British boxing on the map. You would say. Obviously, his most notable fight was against Costa Zoo, where he won the title, and obviously the defeats to Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. So big up to the family. Condolences to the family of Ricky Hatton. Yeah, listen, it's a sad day, but I think it's safe to say that his team, Manchester City, local boy Phil Foden as well, done it justice, man. And yeah, listen, man, it's a sad day for Man City fans, a sad day for British boxing as a whole, But yeah, RIP to Ricky Hatton, man. And then secondly, what a performance yesterday from Terence Bud Crawford against Canelo Alvarez, and you know what it is, yeah? Bud Crawford just cementing himself now as, pound for pound number one. For me, I always said Bud Crawford is going to be up there with the likes of Floyd, Sugar Ray Robinson, etc., Muhammad Ali. And again, that boxer's generation of fighter now, so he's cemented himself there. And to be honest with you, man, what I like about Crawford is that if Crawford was ever in trouble, you'll never know, because the guy is so slick, in that ring, his IQ, his technique, like his footwork, just everything about Terence Crawford, man, is just of a top level. And what a performance he put on yesterday. And, he comfortably won that fight. And I think one of the judges' scorecards, I think, gave it 116 to 111, I believe. And for me, that was what I saw in the fight. I think, for me, he was always going to go the full distance, but he totally dominated that fight, man. And whether he fights again, I mean, to be honest with you, does he really need to fight again? He doesn't. What is he, a free-weight world champion now, I believe? And, yeah, listen, man, Canelo's a good fighter, man, but he just met someone in Terence Crawford who went up and dominated that fight, man. So, yeah, big up to Terence Crawford, man. What a fighter he is. Big up to Ryan Campbell. Big up to Lewis Jackson as well. Big up to Nubis as well. Big up to everyone coming through. Guys, as always, make sure you smash that like button and make sure you sub to the channel. I actually missed the fight. I actually fell asleep, but I watched it in the morning, obviously on Netflix. And, yeah, what a performance, man. And again, he come into this fight so confident and won that easily, So, as I said, RIP to Ricky Hatton, and big up to Terence Bud Crawford, man, for the performance yesterday and cementing himself as one of the all-time greats, But, guys, listen, let's get into it anyway, because I have to say, yeah, I am, again, any of you guys that have been watching my channel for any amount of time, and guys, as always, make sure you put your comments and your questions in, and then once I finish discussing what I have to say, I will get through to some of your comments and questions, because to be honest with you, there's a lot I have to say, and I am well and truly fed up with this fucking manager. I've been fed up with this manager since last season, and I want everyone to realise this manager is actually now taking the piss. He's actually taking the piss out of Man United fans, and I want to tell you why. So, the team selection, guys, that I predicted, I said Bayern they would play. I said the back three of Euro, De Ligt, and Luke Shaw. There's no surprises there. That would have been the back three that I would have went with. Now we get into the midfield two and the wing backs. Now, again, this system I cannot stand. This system needs to be abolished for me. The manager needs to go. I'm not going to change my mind. This manager is just nowhere near the level good enough to be at Manchester United. But what I'm going to say, guys, yeah, the fact that I'm not disappointed that Mazraoui played and that Dorgu played, really, yeah. But it just shows you that this manager is, for one, he's a coward, yeah, and for two, this manager is just taking the piss now because, again, going to Man City, you know, first and foremost, I said Man United need to have as many players on that pitch that are adept at keeping the ball. You know, I said Xerxes should have started because Xerxes can keep the ball. Ahmad to start, Mbuemo, even Kobe Mainu, I would have preferred to see because these guys are adept at keeping the ball. You know, and I think the lineup he done, to think that he played Dorgu and Mazraoui together, and again, I like Mazraoui, but Mazraoui is better as a right-sided or left-sided defender in this system, which is why this system is an absolute joke, yeah? So again, what does this manager do? He plays Dorgu and Mazraoui and has that back three. So immediately, you're playing with a back five. So immediately, you're setting up negative. Now, he's played Mazraoui purely to deal with Jeremy Doku out there. And for me, that is going to set off the precedents in the game to let Man City know that you're going to sit in and try and hope for a counter-attack, which is what United do on many occasions. Now, for me, what I have to say, guys, is the positioning of the wing backs in a sense is poor anyway, as we know, yeah, because they start off too deep, which means that you're only really attacking with more or less three players, you know, which would have been Ahmad, Mbuemo and Sesko. And I'm going to get into Ahmad and Mbuemo in a minute. So again, when you're playing fullbacks as the wing backs, what do you expect? What do you expect? And that is just telling me that this Ruben Amorim, he's either fucking stubborn or he's just taking the piss out of everyone. Because I just don't understand why he keeps doing this with these with these fullbacks playing as the wing backs. As I said, the nearest position to a winger is the wing backs. So if you want to be a bit more attacking, just play wingers as the wing backs. It's not difficult. So again, he plays Dorgu and Mazraoui. Again, these guys are really fullbacks. So again, their starting position is going to be a bit negative. Then the midfield guys, you know, I did say he was going to play Ugarte and, I said Bruno, obviously we know Bruno's going to play. To think this manager had the cheek here to play Ugarte and Bruno as a midfield two against Man City is an absolute joke in itself, yeah? So I'm saying United need to have two players, they need to have the majority of their players in this team that can keep the ball. So what does this manager do? He plays runners yet again to try and press the life out of Man City. And I said, you know, if Man City get a foot in the game, and let's face it, guys, Man City weren't great, yeah? But Man City didn't need to be great because when you're playing Ugarte and you're playing Bruno Fernandes in midfield, what do you expect? These two guys are not adept at keeping the ball. You know, they're like two pit bulls in the midfield that just want to go and run everywhere and try and get the ball back, you know? And again, I don't blame them. I blame this manager. This manager had the cheek to try and keep Bruno Fernandes, yeah? And when you're shoehorning Bruno Fernandes into this team, this is what you're going to get. I don't want to hear no one say the manager hasn't got his own players. He had the chance to sell Bruno Fernandes, yeah? He kept him, didn't get a midfielder in, and this is what you're going to see now. You know, this manager is an absolute fucking disgrace, I'm telling you. He's an absolute disgrace, this manager. And the quicker he goes, the better we can move on. You know, because to play Ugarte, like the thing is, Casemiro had to come on. You know, Casemiro didn't even start the game. He plays Ugarte and Bruno. And he only plays Ugarte and Bruno because of the energy. You know, but against Man City, you need to be able to keep the ball. Because if you keep giving the ball back to Man City, they're going to build their way into the game. The confidence is going to be up. And then by the time you know it, they're going to be through on goal. And guys, you know the more concerning thing is as well. Again, United had a couple of chances. And again, when City went 3-0 up, you know, United sat in and City sat in and invited pressure, you would say, because they knew the game was won. So people might look at and think United had a few chances. Guys, let's not get away from the fact, yeah, that this game could have been 5 or 6-0 to City. Erling Haaland should have had about a hat-trick, or maybe 4. You know, Reinders missed a good chance as well. And I think there was a few other chances in the game as well. So this game could have been about 5 or 6-0, if we're being honest. Yeah. Now, moving on to the 2-10s, guys, and this is why, yeah, this manager is an absolute disgrace. And when I see it, yeah, I thought, right, this manager's trying to be smart. And you know what? It didn't work, and rightfully so, it didn't work. Now, I've told you guys already, you know, I want to see Amad Diallo as a 10. Amad Diallo is a 10, you know, but not in this system. He needs to be playing in a 4-2-3-1 as a number 10. So, again, what does this manager do, yeah? And I want people to pay attention to this. He plays Amad and Brian Mbeumo in the 10. Now, let's not forget, yeah, Brian Mbeumo is a winger. So, Mbeumo's left-footed, he's a winger, and he's been asked to play as a right 10. Now, Mbeumo's natural position would be to drift out to the right-hand side. You know, he'll pull out wide because he's a winger. And again, he's someone that would like to start wide, come in field, and then you can see his play progressing from there. So naturally, he's going to be going out wide anyway. And this is why this formation, yeah, this system is an absolute joke. Because when you're playing fullbacks at wing back, or even if you're playing Amad as a wing back, you know, the width is coming from the wing back. So if you've got a winger that wants to come out wide all the time, what is the point of having the wing backs? Because they're going to be in each other's way, yeah? So to think that he plays Mbeumo as a 10 when he's a winger, that's the first mistake he's doing, yeah? Because he's naturally going to drift out wide because he's a winger, yeah? To think that he played Amad in the 10, yeah, is another disgrace, and I'll tell you why. He plays Amad as a left 10. What foot is Amad Diallo? He's left-footed. So naturally, Amad Diallo is going to want to come out to the left-hand side and pick up the ball. There was times when Amad was trying to pick up the ball in field, but again, it's too congested, you know, because this system, as I said, is an absolute joke. So if you're going to play Amad, he plays Amad as a left 10, where Amad's naturally going to come out to the left-hand side, and he's going to be in whose area? Surprise, surprise, Patrick Dorgu. So when you actually think about how flawed this system is, yeah, he is playing 4 players, 2 in the wing-backs, 2 in the 10s, that all naturally want to come out wide. So he's got 4 players that come out wide, and that just leaves 2 central midfield players and the striker by themselves. So in theory, you've got 3 players up against 7. So you got the 3 in midfield, and you got the 2 centre backs. So you got about 5. So you've got 3 players up against 5, really, when you think about it, yeah. Because if you've got Amad and Dorgu, and again, the reason I'm saying this is because if Amad's going to play as a 10, you would naturally play him as a right 10. This manager plays him as a left 10, and naturally, as I said, Amad's going to drift out to the left, but he's going to be in Patrick Dorgu's way, which means that Benjamin Sesko, who's playing as a striker, more or less is all by himself, because this manager decides to play Amad in the 10, which naturally Amad's going to drift out towards that side because he's left-footed. Not to mention, Brian Mbeumo is a winger and wants to drift out anyway. Then you've got the 2 fullbacks who are playing wing-back that are naturally coming out wide. So again, guys, I want people to pay attention to this, because this manager now is taking the piss. He's literally taking the piss. If you've got 4 players in that team that naturally want to come wide, and then you've got a midfield 2 of Bruno and Ugarte, and you think you're going to do anything in this game, then who do we look at? Because these players we've been told are not good enough, you know? And again, some of them are not good enough, but the buck stops with the manager. The manager is the biggest problem at this club. In terms of what I'm seeing on the pitch, the manager's the biggest problem, because the manager does not want to change his formation. And again, if he doesn't want to change his formation, fuck him off. Get rid of him. Because he's destroying the confidence and he's destroying this team. I couldn't believe watching that first half, yeah? And you can just see it. You've got the 2 10s, really, and Amad wants to play in field, but it's too congested. Because you got Bruno in there, you got Ugarte in there, then you got the three midfield players of Man City as well in Foden, Reinders, and Rodri. It's too congested. So what I'm trying to say to you guys, yeah, if you played a 4-2-3-1, you're gonna get Ahmad playing in his position as a 10, and he can drift out and interchange with an Mbeumo if he wanted, a Cunha if he wanted, if he was fit. And then you're going to get Mbeumo playing in his position where he can hug the touchline and come in field as well. So again, these little tweaks that this manager is incapable of doing is why we're seeing a disgrace of a performance from the team. And this manager is the main driving force behind this, you know. And again, his substitutions, like for like subs. Xerxes on for Sesko. You know, if he was brave, this manager, you know, if he was brave, he should have started Xerxes, Sesko, and then Mbeumo, and play Ahmad at a wing back if he wanted to. But when you're starting with fullbacks at wing backs, you are setting the example that this team is here to defend and play on the counter. I've lost the amount of times this manager is just happy to play on the counter attack. You know, Man City were there for the taking. Man City weren't great. But to think City come out of it winning 3-0 and it should have been more, you know, are we going to start blaming the players yet again? Again, the players do take criticism, but the manager's the biggest problem in this. He's clearly the biggest problem. I just can't understand if there's people out there that are supporting this manager. This manager is fucking shit. He's the worst manager that's been at the club. And the thing is with this manager, why I can't stand this manager, is that he just does not want to change anything. You know, even when you're losing the game, why not bring Xerxes on with Sesko and see how you get on? It's like for like changes. You know, he puts Bruno as a left 10, brings Kobe Mainu central midfield with Ugarte before he takes off Ugarte for Casemiro. We've already said that Kobe Mainu in this system isn't great as a 2 in midfield, because this system doesn't allow him to thrive where Kobe Mainu wants to thrive, in the final third of the pitch. But yet, he keeps playing him there. You know? People actually thought Kobe was going to start. Kobe Mainu was never starting this game. He was never starting this game, Kobe Mainu. Like, this manager's a fucking disgrace. You know? And guys, as I said, he had 5 games. He's got 5 games, yeah, to get 8 points. 1 game down, 3 points lost. He's now got 4 games left, yeah? And they got Chelsea next game at home. What difference are we going to see? You know, Cunha will probably be back. Mason Mount might be back. But why does that matter? Why does that matter? When you've got a manager that wants to play 5 at the back, I don't care what anyone says, yeah? He is setting this team up to be defensive and playing a counter-attack. That's it. That's it. It's absolutely embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. I'm going through some of the performances and I'm thinking, who played well for United? I thought the back 3, Luke Shaw was poor. But again, Luke Shaw does this. You know, Luke Shaw's good 1 minute, then gets injured the next and plays shit the next game. You know? Lenny Yoro, come off. Why the manager, yeah? Why this manager is consistently taking off defenders for another defender, it makes absolutely no fucking sense. He's taking off Lenny Yoro to bring on Harry Maguire. Why? Is he trying to salvage what? Trying to get a corner kick and using Harry Maguire's aerial ability? Is that what Manchester United has come to? Where this manager is bringing on Harry Maguire because of his aerial threat? Because I tell you this now, yeah? When Erling Haaland scored his second goal, if that was Lenny Yoro running onto that rather than Harry Maguire, Lenny Yoro might have got back for that. So it's these fucking stupid decisions from this manager, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Was Lenny Yoro injured? I don't think Yoro was injured. When he kicked the fucking bottle as he was coming off, he was probably pissed off just like us that he's come off the pitch. But this manager thinks it's a good idea to bring on Harry Maguire for Lenny Yoro. Why? What impact did Maguire make coming onto the pitch for Lenny Yoro? What impact did he make? Like, this man just taking the fucking piss. And again, I just hope Ineos are paying attention to this and they just sack this manager. Because I'll be honest with you, yeah, I am fucking fed up of watching this crap football. You know, we had to suffer under Ten Hag. We're suffering even more. The manager said we're going to suffer, yeah? We are suffering even more under this manager. Suffering even more. I cannot believe I'm watching Manchester United, yeah, in this fucking shit formation, under these shit tactics, you know, where this manager, yeah, is just playing players in the wrong position. The clue should have been, guys, yeah, if you're not aware to this, yeah, the clue should have been Brian Mbeumo. People actually probably think Mbeumo's playing in his position. That's how dumb it is. He's playing as a right 10. He's never been a fucking 10 in his life. But this manager thinks it's a good idea to play him as a 10. It's an absolute disgrace what's going on here, you know? And there ain't no process. There's nothing under this manager. This manager is quite simply not good enough. And the quicker he fucks off, yeah, the better this club can move in a different direction. You know? Man City 3-0. Like, why are we surprised? It should have been 5-6. You know? Again, Mbeumo was unlucky from his shot that Donnarumma saved. And guys, I said Donnarumma would start the game. And look at Donnarumma, yeah? Donnarumma just shows you, yeah? He just shows you what a world-class keeper is. Because he didn't have too much to do, really, yeah? But yet, when he did get called upon, the guy's making saves that not many other keepers would make. And this is the difference. And what Donnarumma does as well, from corner kicks against, the guy is so tall, all he has to do to relieve the pressure is just get his big hand to it, and then it's out of danger. It's out of danger. You know? And as I said, man, like, the performances from this team, Bruno Fernandes. Why are we surprised about Bruno Fernandes? You know, too many people in this fan base, in the Man United fan base, want to keep protecting Bruno Fernandes. Yet again, when Man United needing to stand up and be counted, where was he? You know? But this manager doesn't take him off. He plays him every single fucking game. You know? I thought Sesko was actually quite decent when he had the ball. But again, I don't really blame Sesko because when you, as I said earlier, when you've got the manager setting up with Ahmad and Mbeumo both in the 10s, and again, let's not get it twisted, guys. I want Ahmad in the 10. Ahmad is a 10, just not in this system. This system is failing so many players, yeah? But when you're playing Ahmad and Mbeumo, two players that are left-footed, as I said to you, you're playing one player that wants to come out wide anyway in Mbeumo. And then if you're playing Ahmad as a left 10, naturally, where's he going to drift to? The left-hand side because he's left-footed. So that means that centre of the pitch, you've got Sesko really by himself. No one to link the play with. You know, it's absolutely embarrassing what this manager's doing. But guys, big up yourselves. I'm going to get onto some of your questions and your comments anyway. Make sure you smash the like button and sub to the channel if you're new in here. Guys, I'm 4 short of 1.6k. So again, if you're enjoying the content, make sure you smash that like button and sub to the channel and smash that like button as well. I'm going to go through some of your comments, but big up. Yeah, big up to Gamer, obviously on the boxing. Yeah, listen, man. That was a good fight yesterday, man, between Canelo and Crawford. But yeah, Crawford, man, he's something else. Yeah, I'm not sure of Nubis, man, when Inui's fighting. I'm not too sure. Big up to Daniela as well. So Ryan Campbell says, you keep blaming the managers. I'm waiting for you to call out the players. But Ryan Campbell, who picks these players? You know? So are we just saying that this manager is absolved from any blame? Like, the whole thing don't make no sense. Because if Man United win, who we praising? So the way it seems from what you're saying, if United lose a game, you blame the players. If they win the game, you praise the manager. Doesn't make any sense. At the end of the day, this manager sets these players out with instructions to go out and do a job. But what's really happening? This team are being failed by this system. It's quite obvious to see. If you're playing Ahmad and Brian Mbeumo as 2 10s in this system, yeah, naturally, why do you think that's going to work? It's not. You're playing two left footers, which again, he has never done at Manchester United. Played two left footers in the 10 from what I remember. And naturally, you're going to vacate the midfield and have loads of space because Ahmad's left-footed and he's naturally going to drift out to the left. And Mbeumo's a winger anyway. So when you're saying keep blaming the managers, yeah, we have to blame the managers. We have to blame the managers because who else are we going to blame? Again, a lot of these players are not good enough. We know that, yeah? But the manager is the one that chooses this system, this formation. You know, we was hearing this manager never had his players. He's got his players now. He's got some of his players now. So we have to blame the manager. I'm not here for just blaming the players. Nubis says, sack Amorim, sell Bruno, Dallo, Casemiro, Ugarte, get Baleba and Walton or Elliott, problem solve. Yeah, but listen, Nubis, man, I definitely hear you. But you know the problem is, yeah, the transfer window's shut now. And again, I'm just not here for this because the club had the chance to get rid of this manager in the international break. They had the chance to go and get a couple of midfielders, you know. The fact that we were linked to Conor Gallagher, again, is an absolute disgrace in itself. So, as I said, yeah, I'm just fed up of this this whole nonsense, really. You know, I'm just fed up of it. And yeah, we're gonna have to keep suffering in this stupid formation. And again, Chelsea next, you know, look at Brentford. You know, Brentford just got a draw yesterday against Chelsea. And then you got Sunderland at home and then Liverpool. I don't expect this manager to be here by then. I just don't expect it, you know, and I'm hoping Ineos are actually looking at these things. But again, all this Baleba, Walton and Elliot Anderson, yeah, listen, the transfer window's shut, man, and we can't go and get them now. So let's just see what happens because this whole thing's an absolute joke. Him bringing on Kobbie Mainoo as well. Listen, Kobbie's not too interested in this manager. You can tell. He hasn't got the faith of the manager, you know. And Kobbie obviously knows, you know, he's playing second fiddle, really. And the thing is, Kobbie Mainoo now, I'm looking like, I know Kobbie is a top player. He's looking like a bit of a, he's looking poor now, Kobbie Mainoo. Like, who would have thought that? When he burst onto the scene, it was like, you know what? United have got a midfielder now that could be in the team for the next 10 years. You know what I mean? He does look very good. Like, I look at Kobbie Mainoo now, and I'm just looking at him as any player now. And that's not his fault. That's his stupid system and how he's been made to play. You know, he's probably got no confidence as well. It's crazy, man. Yeah, big up to Lumi. There you go. So these players are all underperforming. When that happens, you have to look at the manager. Simple. And the thing is, that is as basic as that. When you've got all these players that are not performing to their capabilities, it's a manager problem. It's a manager problem. There ain't one player that is playing to their maximum. So we can't keep looking at the players because the players can only do so much. It's the system and the tactics that are in play, you know, that get the best out of these players. And quite clearly, this system ain't doing it. You know, I'd argue this with anyone. You know, if he changes this formation, which he's not going to do, which is why he needs to fuck off. You know, if this formation was a 4-2-3-1, I guarantee you this team will be performing better because at least you're going to have players in their rightful positions. This manager just thinks he's smart. That's all it is. He thinks his system is the be-all and end-all of football. You know? At what point is he going to realise, you know what, maybe this ain't working? He's not going to do that because, again, he thinks he's bigger than... In a sense, he thinks he's bigger than the club. He thinks his system is better than the club. That's what it comes down to. Because I can guarantee you this now, if this system was to change, you get better performances. You know, I said City will win this 2-1. 3-0 could have been 5 or 6. That's how bad it was. You know? So again, yeah. And Ryan Campbell, I'm glad you said that, yeah? Because you just proved my point. You just said those same players won a cup under Ten Hag. So if those same players won a cup under Ten Hag, why are you blaming the players then? Surely it must be the manager if you're saying that. So you just answer the question. Those same players that won a cup under Ten Hag, so that means, just looking at it logically, it must be the manager then. You know what I mean? You just answered your own question. You've answered your own question. You know, again, I'm not saying a lot of these players are good enough, but if they've won a trophy under Ten Hag, who was terrible, why are they looking at the way they are under Amorim? Why is it Amorim couldn't win that final against Tottenham? When are we going to start looking at the manager rather than just keep blaming the players? You know? It's a joke, man. Absolute joke. Big up to Brian Harkin. Says, I defended Amorim, Ruben, but he has to go. Mate, he should have gone last season. He should have gone last season. That's the problem. Should have gone last season. The fact that they kept him, it's showing me really they didn't really learn from Ten Hag. You know? It's embarrassing, man. What's that? 4 games and... Was it 4? Is it 4 games? Yeah, 4 games, 4 points. And guys, listen. That Burnley game, I'll keep telling you guys, that should have ended 2-2. Because that wasn't a penalty. It wasn't. It was a foul, but the foul took place outside the box on Amad Diallo. So really and truly, it should be a point. It should be a point. And again, guys, if we're looking at the finer details, yeah, the Fulham game, yeah, United shouldn't have even got a point there. Because the thing is, Lenny Yoro's the own goal, Lenny Yoro actually fouled Bassi. So really and truly, it shouldn't have even been a point there. Yeah? The Burnley game should have finished 2-2. So really and truly, we should really be looking at United as having 1 point rather than 4. If we're being deadly honest. This manager's a fucking disgrace. Lumi says Amorim can't lose against Chelsea on Saturday if he's still here. Yeah, listen, I'm tired of all that, man. As I said, I told you guys he had 5 games at the start of the season to see what happens. You know, I said if he doesn't, I said the 3 games. I said Fulham, Arsenal, and Burnley. I said he needs to get a certain amount of points. He didn't achieve it. You know, international break. I said, you know, he needs to go. Obviously, they've kept him on. You know, how long he's going to stay here, I don't know. These next 5 games, City's just lost now. Chelsea, Brentford, Sunderland and Liverpool. If he makes it that far, he needs 8 points. It's as simple as that. He needs 8 points in his next 4 games. So he now needs to go and beat Chelsea, Brentford, Sunderland, you know, and get something out of Liverpool. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This whole thing's an absolute disgrace, man. I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. Gamer says, I only see United getting 1 point in the next 4 games with this manager. 1 point against Sunderland. Honest truth, bro. Amorim needs out ASAP. Yeah, listen, man. It's frustrating. It's frustrating, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, are we even going to beat Sunderland? That's the question people need to be asking themselves. Like, I don't think Sunderland's going to be a foregone conclusion. United struggled to fucking beat Burnley. So why are we going to think we can beat Sunderland? You know, Sunderland have started better than Burnley. Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. So if the players are not good enough, sacking the manager is not the answer. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You just told us, Ryan Campbell, that those players won a trophy under Ten Hag. So make your mind up. Is it the players are not good, or is it Amorim's not good? Or is it a mixture of both? I think it's a mixture of both, but it's mainly the manager in the system he's playing. You know, I'd argue this with anyone. No one can come and tell me that it's the players more than the manager. Impossible. Because I can guarantee this now, if any top coach comes in, and again, I'm not calling Amorim a coach no more, because it's quite obvious he's coaching jack shit. So I'm not calling Amorim a coach anymore. I'm just going to call him Amorim. I'm not calling him a manager either. Yeah. So Amorim is the problem. He's the problem. If you're saying the players won a trophy under Ten Hag, The answer's there for you. It's clearly the man. It's clearly Amorim. It's clearly him. Disgrace. Yeah, look. Gav, I can't believe you're trading Liverpool 12 points after just 4 games. Title hopes over already. Listen, yeah, all right, Lumi, yeah. I'll let you off of that one. Listen, you got bigger things to think about, Lumi, because your team, Arsenal, it's got to be Champions League or it's got to be a league title. Otherwise, we will be here. I'm telling you now, we will be here. And same with you, Ryan Campbell. We will be here. Yeah, we will be here. So I'll let you guys have your fun. But listen, if there's no Champions League or no league title, I want to see the same energy. Peter Onyango says, you don't get it. The system is very okay because we had the ball. The problem is we have wingers like Ahmad and Dorgu who can't cross the ball. Ugarte does not read the game and give the right pass. Peter, big up for coming on. But what I'm going to say to you, Peter, yeah, is that you don't get it. And I'll tell you why you don't get it, yeah? Because you just said you don't get this, you don't get it. The system is very okay. Again, I'm not a fan of the 3-4-2-1, yeah? But the interpretation of this system in what the manager sees in terms of the players he plays in certain positions, you know, is the massive problem. So when you're saying we have wingers like Ahmad and Dorgu, again, where you've lost the argument, Peter, if you're still watching, Ahmad and Dorgu are not wingers. So you've lost the argument there straight away. Dorgu's actually a fullback that has been asked to play as a wingback because of his physicality. Ahmad's actually a number 10 that is being forced to play as a wingback. So again, when you're saying we have wingers like Ahmad and Dorgu, you're not understanding that these players are playing in the wrong positions in the first place. So again, Ugarte is not good. We know Ugarte is not good. You know, the fact that he put Ugarte in the team, he only put Ugarte in the team for his legs. So he's more worrying about what Man City are doing rather than worrying about what United can do to trouble Man City. This is the problem. If you're a coach or a manager and you're setting up to stifle the opposition, but you're not worrying about what you could do to opposition, why the fuck are you in place in the first place then? You know, it doesn't make any sense. So as I said, Peter, it's not about the system's very okay. The interpretation of what this manager sees is the issue. And when you've got players that are being shoehorned into the team or not playing in their right position, that falls on the manager. Because you just told me Ahmad and Dorgu are wingers. They're not wingers. That's the problem. Ahmad's a 10 who can play as a winger. Patrick Dorgu is actually a fullback. But this system is forcing them to play the way they are. You know? Crazy. Winston Churchill the Greater says, problem is United think they're a good team. They still don't understand they're not a big club at all. Well, listen, in terms of prestige, in terms of, the history of the club, it is a big club. But yeah, over the last 10 years, you can say we're not a big club because that wouldn't be a lie, you know. And the positive I can see is that it's looking like they're starting to try and put things in place finally to get United back up to where they once were. But it's not going to be with this manager. So this manager needs to go, man, as I said. And I'm just sick and tired of saying the same thing over and over again. The appointments of the managers have been the problems. You know, the only manager that I rate since Sir Alex Ferguson is Louis van Gaal. You know, I'm going to keep saying this. He's the only manager that I respect that has been brought in since Ferguson. Everyone else has been an absolute disgrace, you know. And yeah, what do we expect? You know, what do we expect? You know, so I don't know, man. I don't know what to say because 3-0 against your City rivals, you know. But again, why are we surprised? Because I saw this coming anyway. I saw this coming. You know, I saw this coming. It's pathetic, man. Yeah. Big up to Enter the Void as well. Big up, man, for coming through. Big up to Broderick each and every time as well. So Germs Lee Fishing says, I've defended Amorim as well, but he's made poor decisions when it comes to the selection of the team. But listen, when does he not make poor decisions? It's a common theme. The very first thing he should have identified playing Man City is, can I get as many players on the pitch that can keep the ball? That's it. That's it. Because at the end of the day, if you let City get into their rhythm, yeah, then they're gonna grow in confidence and they're gonna grind you down. And that's what happened in the end. And they weren't even great, City. But when you've got a team like Man United that have so many players that really, especially if you're looking at Bruno and Ugarte is a massive problem because they're two players that are not adept at keeping the ball. You know, Xerxes should have been playing, you know, to hold to hold the ball. You know, even play Xerxes and Sesko together. The fact that he played Ahmad and Mbeumo, as I said, is a problem. Not because Ahmad should have been playing, he should have. But you're playing Ahmad as a left 10 when really and truly, like, he is a 10, but just not in this system. And naturally, if you're playing him as a left 10, he's gonna drift out to the left-hand side. And you're gonna have him and Dorgu on that side. And Mbeumo's gonna drift out to the right anyway. You're gonna have him and Mazraoui. That means you've got three players in that central of the pitch. In Ugarte, Bruno, who's even ill-disciplined anyway, and Benjamin Sesko. The amount of times Sesko was by himself with the ball, why are we surprised? That's why you have to blame the manager for this setup. The team that I would have started with, I would have played Kobe. I would have played Kobe as a left 10. I would have played Ahmad as the right wing back and Mbeumo. But I'm basing it in this system. Yeah? So in this system, you know, maybe swap Mbeumo and Ahmad. Play Ahmad as a right 10. Play Mbeumo as the wing back. You know, Dorgu left wing back. Kobe Mino as a left 10. And then you play Xerxes and then bring Sesko on. Or you could have played Xerxes and Sesko together. You know, and then play Ahmad, Mbeumo, Dorgu. But at midfield 2, Casemiro should have been in there. You don't play a midfield 2 of Bruno and Ugarte. I would have been more happy if it was Ugarte and Casemiro. Let Ugarte go and do the dog work and let Casemiro hold his position. I would have been more happy with that. But again, the fact that we're talking about Bruno Fernandes in midfield still is on the manager because he was part of the problem in why Bruno's still here. So when we're looking at there's not enough midfielders or no midfielders being brought in, blame the manager because he's been instrumental in that. Big up to Petrus. So Petrus says the coach must go because he cannot leave new goalkeeper. Then he put the weak one. Again, and I'm going to stick by what I'm saying on this, you know. The thing about the keeper, I wasn't really too dissatisfied with Bayinde starting. I expected Bayinde to start. The problem is, even if Lemens was in goal, does Lemens stop the 3 goals that was scored? We'll never know. But what I'm trying to say to you is that Lemens has never played in English football before. It's a Manchester derby where both managers are under pressure. So he's going to go with someone that has been playing the last couple of games. And again, I'm not really too dissatisfied that Bayinde was in goal. I expected it purely because it was a Manchester derby. If it was against, let's say, Brentford or Sunderland, then I would have expected Lemens to come in. But in a Manchester derby where it's a massive game, where City have lost 2 in a row, United haven't won 2 in a row, the manager was always going to play someone that has been playing in the league rather than a new guy. So again, I haven't really got a massive problem with that. But listen, let's see what he does next game. You know? Yeah, and as Germs Lee Fishing essay says, this is no different to a Ten Hag team. I'd argue Ten Hag's team were better. That's how bad it is. That is how bad it is. I'd argue Ten Hag's teams were better. You know, never would I thought I would see that happening. Man United playing in a way that is reminiscent of what Ten Hag is doing. and he's actually doing it better. This is why Ruben Amorim has to go for me. Waka says, Man United should follow the Arsenal blueprint when Arteta came in. What, the blueprint of what? Not winning anything? Listen, you guys can enjoy your time now, but as I said, you know, you just better make sure you guys win a trophy, man, because it's gonna be good over here, man. I'll tell you that right now. So Johnny Gunner says, it's your midfield, bro. They bypassed your midfield for fun. They should have scored 5 to 6 goals. Big up to Johnny Gunner. I agree. I think people might be overlooking this. This game should have been 5 or 6. It should have been, Haaland should have had about 4. You know, Reinders missed that chance as well. And I'm pretty sure there was another one as well. So, as I said, the midfield, as we know, the thing is with the midfield, yeah, I'm not even going to get onto the midfield because I'm bored of this now. The midfield, we all know the midfield's a problem. You know, we all know it's a problem. This manager doesn't want to change things. And the fact that he's playing Bruno and Ugarte, why did anyone ever think United were going to do anything serious with Bruno and Ugarte? He shoehorns Bruno into the team, as we know, and Ugarte just ain't good enough. You know, I thought in the first 5-10 minutes, Ugarte was decent. But why is he decent? Because he puts out fires. But is this what Man United has come to? Where we're relying on a player to put out fires, and then all of a sudden he's having a decent game. This is unfortunately what's happened. You know, I'm just bored of it. I'm bored of it. You know, he's not going to change the system, so change him. Simple as. Simple as. Yeah, big up Sham, man. Big up, man. It should have been 5 or 6, man. It's embarrassing. So Broderick says, are you saying Ahmad is just as indisciplined because it looks like he is? I can't lie. Yeah, big up, bro. I'm not saying Ahmad is indisciplined, yeah? But when you're setting up players to fail in the first place, unfortunately, it might look like that. As I said earlier with Ahmad, yeah? Ahmad is a 10. But this system here is killing him. And when you're playing him as a left 10, there's no point because Ahmad wants to get into the 10 positions, but it's overcrowded. So if you're playing as a left 10, the fact that he's left-footed, he's going to drift out wide. But that means he's going to get in Dorgu's space. The whole thing's flawed. You know? The whole thing's flawed because if you change the formation and you play 4-2-3-1, you've got Mbeumo playing in his right position. Ahmad can then play the 10, and then whoever you want to play on the left-hand side. But when you're playing 2 10s that are left-footed, and you've got one that wants to go out wide, and one that's going to drift out wide because he's left-footed in the first place, you've got 4 players out wide in Dorgu, Mazraoui, Ahmad, and Mbeumo. I mean, that's just poor coaching, poor management, in my opinion. It doesn't make any sense. Amo says, there's no way Amorim keeps his job after this. I heard he was crying at the end. Well, I've got him on the screen right now, and I've got him on, I don't even want to see his face, but I don't see him crying, but I see him, the way his facial expressions are, making a whole lot of fucking excuses again. Listen, do I think they sack him after this game? They should, because really and truly, this game was a 6-0 game. It was the fact that he finished 3-0, and guys, let's not hide from the fact as well, yeah. United failed to score, you know, again against a better opponent. Arsenal, there was no goals. City, no goals. You know, Fulham shouldn't really have been a goal. Burnley, 3 goals. You know, but Burnley will be down the bottom. Chelsea, do I expect United to score? I don't. Big up to Free Thinker says, R.I.P. Ricky Hatton. Yeah, big up, man. Yeah, rest in peace, Ricky Hatton, man. Crazy news today, man. I was actually shocked. 46 years of age, I think mental health. And guys, you know what it just shows you, yeah? It just shows you, man, this mental health stuff ain't a joke. You know, I know obviously Hatton was a mad drinker as well. But yeah, what I would say, guys, man, if you guys are suffering from mental health, man, just speak to somebody, you know, because there's people out there that could be going through a hard day. and just having a conversation with that person, putting them in a better state of mind, you know, could actually go a long way. So yeah, man. From what I saw, I think it was mental health, and 46, man's no age. So yeah, man. Rest in peace, Ricky Hatton, man. Rest in peace. Johnny says you need 4 new midfielders and 2 new wing backs. Johnny, big up, man. What I would say is that we need at least 2 new midfielders. I wouldn't say 4 new midfielders. I think this system is making people think United need 4 midfielders. They don't. Just change this system and all of a sudden, you know, you'd realise that Kobe's because I'm not counting Kobe as a player because he hardly plays, but he's a midfielder. Casemiro, you can get something out of him. Bruno, again, he needs to be moved on, and so does Ugarte. So you go and get me 2 midfielders in the summer or in January. You've got 4 midfielders there, and all of a sudden, in a different system, it's looking different. Because if you're going to play a 4-2-3-1, you know, you've got number 10s there. Ahmad, Cunha, you know, even Xerxes if you wanted to play him. As much as I don't rate Mason Mount, can play as a 10. So there's players there. So, and the wing-backs, I'm not even looking at wing-backs because even Diogo Dalot, as much as how poor Dalot has been, yeah, Dalot is better as a fullback. So if you've got Mazraoui and Dalot as a 2 fullbacks, then you've got Dorgu, you've got Luke Shaw if he's still there, you've got Diego Leon as a new signing as well. You know, these players can all play fullback. This wing-back system is an absolute joke. And I'm going to stand by that. It's an absolute joke. Big up to DXR. Big up for coming through, man. Yeah, listen, man. This man is a joke, man. I agree. So Waka says, bro, Arteta transformed Arsenal. It depends what you mean by transformed. Because, I mean, yeah, he's got a decent squad right now. You know, they are obviously competing in the top half of the table. Fair enough. But I'm sorry, if you don't go one further, yeah, listen, if you don't win a Champions League or a league title, I don't want to be hearing nothing else, to be honest with you. No matter what no one says. So, because he's been here, what? This is his seventh season? I don't want to hear nothing else, I'll be honest. So there are good options like Amadou Onana, Edson Alvarez, or Bruno G. None of these players will cost more than 35 to 45 million. You spend almost 70 mil on Ugarte. Again, I disagree. Big up to Johnny Gunner though, because Bruno Guimaraes will cost about 80 million at least. And again, you're not going to get him out of Newcastle. So Edson Alvarez, I think, has gone to Turkey. And again, do I want Edson Alvarez? I mean, he's better than Ugarte, but I don't want Edson Alvarez. And Amadou Onana will cost more than 45 mil. So, again, I can see where you're going with this, Johnny Gunner, but I think you're wrong in terms of how much those players will cost. But do I think all 3 of those players would improve Man United? Well, it's not hard to. When you've got Ugarte and Bruno in the midfield too, there ain't many players. There ain't many players that are not better than that. You know, because that midfield 2 there is poor. So and Ugarte didn't cost 70 mil. I think he cost 60 mil. And again, I mean, the fact that he cost 60 million is actually laughable. You know, he's a 30 million pound player, really, for what he offers. It's shameful. Yeah, listen, Zubimendi scored more goals than United strikers. And again, is that because Zubimendi is that great? Or is it because that this system doesn't really allow strikers to score goals? There's your answer. I mean, the closest person that could score today was Mbeumo. He had a great strike that was tipped round the corner by Donnarumma. But again, yeah, it's just madness, man. Yeah, big up to Broderick, man. So mental health doesn't discriminate. It can get to anyone. 100%. It can. 100%. Madness, madness. Yeah, big up, man. The baseball jackets. Yeah, listen, man. They're just comfy jackets, man. They've got quite a few of them still, so they're comfy jackets, man. Johnny Gunner says Dallo is trash, bro. Been there like 8 years and done nothing. Yeah, listen, I'm not like Dallo's biggest fan. I'll be honest, yeah. But Dallo's better as in a four. He's better as a fullback. He is. In this system, he's a right-sided or a left-sided centre-back, not as a wing-back. But if you change this system to a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, I guarantee you'll get a better Dallo. Guarantee you. You know, Dallo ain't that bad in comparison to what a lot of people think. But this system, as I said with many players, is killing him. You know, so it's crazy, man. Crazy. Big up to Alu Wong, says, we need to go back to basics. Amorim is complicating football, and it's not what we need right now. He is. And this is the problem, Alu Wong, yeah? Ruben Amorim thinks he's smart. He thinks he's smarter than the club. You know, he's one of them coaches, supposed coaches, yeah, that thinks that his system is better than anything else. Because why he hasn't at least changed something, I'll never know. If you're losing a game 3-0, yeah, at what point do you think, maybe I might go 2 up top and see how we get on? Nah, this manager just wants to do like-for-like changes and not change fuck all. And it's like, what do you expect? What do you expect? You know what I mean? And again, we can't keep blaming the players. The players can only do so much. You know, if you're set up in a system to fail, guess what? You're gonna fail, and that's what's been happening. You know, if Amorim changed to a 4-2-3-1, let's say, during the game, and the players were still performing the way they were, I'll be like, do you know what? At least he's changed something. He is not interested in changing anything, so they need to change him as soon as possible. Because I'm telling you this now, United don't want to be getting to the Brentford game, you know, in the state as it is at the moment. Because the Chelsea game, I can see more of the same. I can't see them beating Chelsea. You know, I think the best they'll get is a draw. But again, who's to say that these players still want to play for this manager? You know, who knows? Who knows? But one thing I tell you, it's an absolute joke, man. Absolute joke. Big up to VVF. Ed says we are so bad. Yeah. Under this manager, man, we are. We are. Dallo has survived like 5 managers. How many systems is that? Come on, he's not good enough. Again, I'm not saying Dallo is a world beater. I'm not saying that. Again, Bruno Fernandes, you know, this criticism needs to be leveled at Bruno Fernandes. He's the common denominator out of all this. Bruno Fernandes is the one player that survives everyone, you know. But what I'm trying to say to you, Johnny, yeah, is that as bad as what Dallo has been, Dallo is better in a 4. He is. That's not me saying that. Look at that. Amorim's got a 25.8% win ratio. I think it's worse than that. It must be worse than that because it was 23.5 before he played Burnley. So it might have gone down after that. But again, Johnny, I'm not saying that Dallo needs to be a starter because for me, Masraoui is better than him. But there's no doubt in my mind that Dallo is going to be better in a 4. I'm confident of that because the proof's been there, you know. So yeah, man, this is just poor. Let me just go back to Amorim quickly. Yeah, his stats. So 30. Guys, look at that. Yeah. Tell me if this is acceptable, yeah? 31 games, 8 wins, 7 draws, 16 defeats, minus 13 goal difference, win ratio of 25.8. Who do we blame for this? Are we just going to keep blaming the players then? Or are we just going to look at Amorim and think, yeah, maybe we've made a massive mistake in hiring this guy? It's just pathetic, man. 8 wins, 7 draws, 16 defeats, guys. That's Ruben Amorim for you. Minus 13 goal difference. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. So he's got more defeats than wins and draws combined. Yeah, man, it's just fucking... It's just pathetic, man. I have to be honest, it's pathetic. But yeah, guys, listen. I'm going to get going anyway. Guys, I'm going to be back tomorrow. I'll probably be back in the morning at 11:30. I'm not sure yet, but make sure your notifications are on to see when I go live. Should be back at 11:30 as normal time. If I'm not back, guys, tomorrow morning at 11:30, I'll be on Flawless's channel tomorrow at 4:30. So yeah, make sure you guys come over and show your support as always. And again, guys, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you sub to the channel if you're new in here. So yeah, as I said, yeah, I will be on at some point tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'm on tomorrow morning, as I said, at 11:30. But again, make sure you guys keep an eye on the schedule to see if I am on. Make sure notifications are on. But as I said, yeah, make sure you guys come and follow Sarcasm City TV tomorrow at 4:30, where I'll be on there. And again, I'm going to be venting my frustration on Flawless's channel. And as I said, it's just frustrating watching this team, man. Watching this nonsense week in, week out. You know, was I confident going into this game? No. I knew United weren't winning this game. It's obvious. When you're struggling against Burnley, yeah, why would you go into confidence? Even though City have been in a poor run of form, why would you be confident going into this Manchester derby thinking United will do anything under this manager? It was never going to happen. So, yeah, listen, it's just one of them things, man, but it's frustrating. So, it is what it is, man. But yeah, big up yourselves, guys, each and every time. As I said, make sure you smash the like button and make sure you sub to the channel. As I said, I'm only 4 short of 1.6k. So, yeah, make sure you sub, guys. As Johnny says, man, struggling against Grimsby Town. Yeah, listen, are we going to blame the players again? I mean, the players, people can say, need to do better, and I hear that. But who tells Ruben Amorim to start with 5 at the back yet again against Grimsby? Who tells him to go and do that? So, again, the buck stops with the manager, and rightfully so. So, yeah, it is what it is. But, guys, as we said, you know, we're going to end on this note. You know, rest in peace to Ricky Hatton. Condolences to his family as well. You know, to lose someone at 46 years of age, which is no age really. Mental health. It's just showing you that this shit is real, man. And as I said, even if you're in the chat right now and you have issues with your mental health and you feel you need to go and talk to someone, you know, just know channels like this, you know, it's always good to kind of vent your, even if you've got your frustrations, or even if you want to just talk some football, you know, this is a channel, real football talk. You know, maybe it might help take your mind away from certain things. But yeah, mental health is a real thing, man. And doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, these things are rife in life, you know. And as Broderick said earlier, you know, mental health doesn't discriminate, and rightfully so. So, as I said, guys, yeah, big up yourselves. Big up to Chris and Mark just coming through as well. Guys, as I said, I'm back tomorrow on Sarcasm City TV, 4:30. So tune into that. Should be back 11:30 tomorrow morning. Not too sure yet. But, yeah, as I said, big up yourselves each and every time for coming through. Rest in peace, Ricky Hatton. Big up to Terence Crawford for a majestic performance yesterday to become, what is it, free weight world champion, and cementing his legacy as one of the best ever, you know. So, yeah, big up yourselves each and every time. Smash the like button on your way out. Sub to the channel. And I'm going to catch you guys tomorrow. Take it easy.